Hello.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Marina?
I am good. Good. Yes, it's summer apparently. I mean, not officially, but it feels like summer, doesn't it?
Is it not officially summer?
I thought it was
Is it
still like
still
end of
spring?
spring, no?
Oh, yeah. I always confuse the
Maybe.
times of the year.
You may be right and I may be wrong, but
Or maybe
yeah.
it's the other way around.
So welcome everyone to this last episode. Can we say that for the first season of Code Commit Deploy Repeat? Today we're going to focus a lot on the deploy so we can repeat on season 2. And yeah, let's have fun together. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, please share with us on the comments on YouTube. Please be respectful to everyone. We are here to learn with each other. And yeah, should we get started?
Yes. So I just added another message into the chat so people know where to type their questions.
Oh, yes, you can talk to us.
And also to use the emoji. So if you press the heart button, then
that's true.
We can see that you love what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
we'll do our best to reply. So I remember at the end of the last episode, we were stumbling on some like screen updates, if I remember correctly, on iOS. Did you have time to look into that during the week, or are we going to fix that together today?
I had some time today, so we can actually look into that. Let me quickly switch my screen and actually switch to my screen.
Yeah, I have my Android emulator up and running here as well.
So, so last time there were a couple of issues, and I've got my application running here. And so one of the things that did not work was adding new stuff. So when I added new tasks, like this one, like drink coffee in the morning, and add that, it did not work. Yeah. So, but now it works, and I can check all of these things. And when we switch over to your screen in a moment, we should see that they are checked off because, oh, not on this one, because I haven't yet invited you. Exactly. So I need to invite you. And that was the other thing that didn't work. So when I tap on that share button up here and press copy, then, oh, look at that. So again, it's not working. So I think I forgot to paste this here, but let's see. So if I do that, and then I try to, oh yeah, it did work. I don't know why it says that it didn't work. So let me paste this somewhere where we can see it. So I'm just gonna go and paste this at the bottom of my editor here. So this is the link. And the reason why it didn't work last time was that in the implementation, we also said we were gonna share a little intro text to that. And then apparently, if you share text and a link, the copy command prioritizes the text instead of the link. So I said, well, let's just share the link, and that should work now. So I'm going to send this link over to you in our chat, if I can find it. So it's over here. So make sure that you only copy that link and not like the entire URL of the window. And then we can, if you've got that, you can open it in
the chat. I was trying to get, okay, yeah, now I get the link. Let me see if I have everything. Why does it? Okay. There's a token to it. And then I can try, oh man, the ADB command again, because now I'm on. Why ADB is, honestly, I never know when it's going to work and when it's not going to work. Let me fix this really quickly.
Oh, Oh, it's because we had the issue last time, right?
Yeah.
So what was the issue? It was not on the.
It wasn't opening. Like if I try to go on my emulator and go to, for example, here and drop the link that I just copied, which is not even giving me the option to do that. Why not? Yeah, it's not giving me the option to paste.
Can you? Yeah, can you? Yeah, I think you
so
can.
I'm gonna try ADB, but first I want to fix my ADB because it's saying ADB command not found.
Just a thought. Did you copy the URL correctly? If you paste it into a text editor, for example.
Yeah.
Let's try that first.
Yeah, it shows like joining list if I try on Chrome, for example, on web. So I just need to do this. I think I first need to fix the ADB thing. Oh man, why? Maybe no, I do have that on. No. Wait.
Oh yeah, you need to put your username.
Yeah, but I think I've already done this, and every time my computer like switches on and off, I need to do this again, even though I did add this. Okay, maybe now. Nope. Okay.
Someone on the stream asks if you can use the Android CLI instead of ADB. Is there an Android CLI?
Is there an Android? Do you mean the Android?
Oh, it's probably the
the
as in instead of the MCP server.
Open this link on my.
Oh yeah.
Let's try.
You can just use the agent.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's try this. Let me see if I still have it on the paste. No, I have my export link. Okay. Opening again. Now let's paste here. Let's see if it understands what to do. No model selected. Okay, let's go with the one. Open.
And then you probably need to do this again, right? Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now let's see if it can. Oh.
Oh.
What? So it said it can't find it, and then it was like, "Well, here you go."
Yeah.
What's this?
Please open this device with make it so installed.
Yeah, but you do have make it so installed.
I do have.
When I did this on my machine earlier today, I ran into the same situation, and I think this is
the thing on the README that you were talking to me about.
Exactly. So you apparently need to tell Android that our website association is legit. So let me see.
This.
Yeah, so Android emulator app links testing. And there's something like when running local developer debug builds, the application is signed with a local key store. And then you need to run an ADB another ADB command.
Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, this is the path that I should have used there, but alas, let's allow this command.
Oh, users provision. That's interesting. Okay.
Okay, let me know.
Okay, and now you can run the other one.
Now you can open the link again, just in case it doesn't have the link. Cross your finger. Re-engaging the link. Choosing the final method. Allow.
And
And
it opened that up. Yeah, this is my list.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I was thinking I certainly didn't do a dry run for as Firebase asks you this morning. That's not me.
So
cool. So I do have it here.
Yeah. So for example, if you go back into the list, and then I'll check off the pack suitcase item.
Oh, there you
Boom,
go.
There it goes.
Can you now put the iOS one up, and now I'm gonna cross something here.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me. So okay, my screen is visible.
Okay, so I am gonna do the meetup with Marina.
Yep, nice. That worked.
Cool.
That's amazing.
So sharing lists is working. We've done that.
It is. So there's one thing. So if I go back to this thing here, and when I was playing around, I wanted to create a list, and I was like, well, what kind of list can I do? And I was like, okay, let's plan a birthday party for you. But I think your birthday already has happened this year already, right?
Yeah, but I'll do it again next year. Don't worry. I do this thing while I do it every year. Yeah.
You're in the business of doing birthdays every year. Okay, cool. So because I was like, okay, there are two things. How can I get rid of this? No way. So I can't, I'm trying to swipe now. There is no way how I can delete a list. And then I was like, oh, can I rename the list? There's no rename command. I don't know. Can you delete or rename a list on Android?
Can I delete a what? Sorry?
Can you rename or delete a list on Android?
I don't think I can. Let me try it. No, I only have the share button. I don't have, rarely, and Android rarely has slide actions. And no, nothing inside the list as well. And I cannot, well, that's one thing. So the title of the tasks list is always tasks, as in like, okay, you open this list and now you see the tasks, but it should be the name of the list. But that's a good point. We need to fix that.
Yeah, so these are two additional features. But so let's stick with the birthday party thing.
Yeah.
And I think what we can do is, and what we were thinking of doing today, implementing a feature that makes it easier to plan stuff. And, it has been such a long time since I've planned a birthday party because my kids are grown up now. So I have no idea how to do it any longer. And I don't know if you'd be interested in a scavenger hunt. So, let's get some help here and have anti-gravity implement this for us.
Yeah.
So I use, so last time you also used anti-gravity, but you used the agent manager, right?
Exactly.
So today I thought we can use the
IDE.
The IDE.
Yep, let's do that.
And see how that works. So I am on this branch, and let's see, did it make a couple of changes? Yeah, but that's just like rubbish. That's okay. So before we go into it, what do we need for this kind of feature?
So we need some way to access AI models from mobile. We don't want to have to set this up on the back end. Which I think I know just the thing. So yeah, Firebase AI logic. It would be useful. Did we go over Firebase skills on anti-gravity and Firebase MCP on anti-gravity on the previous episode?
I think we did. Yeah, we briefly, in passing, I think, right?
Yeah, but we can show this maybe, and then ask it with, because the skills on the Firebase skills on AGI, they do have knowledge on Firebase AI logic and how to get the generative models to perform some tasks, and that would be, I think, step one, unless you disagree and you have other first step for this task.
No. So when I said what do we need, I was mostly thinking about how the feature should look like as a feature itself.
Sorry,
right? So
I went
from a user,
the...
no worries. But you're absolutely right. So maybe before we get into writing the PRD for it, let's quickly check if we can enable the skills. So
customization, I think. Up, down.
There. Okay. Yeah. So under customizations, first of all, we can see the token usage of all the custom things that we've enabled, because if you have a bunch of MCP servers, for example, they might consume a lot of tokens already in your window.
Mm-hmm.
And the same for any skills that you install or any rules that you have. So at the moment, I have 11 skills installed. So I've got the Xcode project setup skill, which is part of the Firebase skill, and that makes it easier to add Firebase to your Xcode project. We've got the Firebase basics skill, and there is the Firebase AI logic basics skill. So I think we're probably good to go ahead, and it's installed globally. So somewhere in some folder that anti-gravity uses.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
So
now back to your actual question before I derailed completely. So when it comes to planning that, I'm thinking for the experience, once you open the list, like the birthday one that you just opened, and you well, I don't know where to start with this, we could have an AI button somewhere that said create some tasks that would be related to that, the title that you provided.
Mm-hmm.
Which means we would have to check if there are already tasks on that list, because if you already said something along the lines of buy a cake, then the AI shouldn't suggest you another task, buying cakes. So yeah,
that's a very good point. Yeah. So okay, let's start with the basics. So I want to build a feature to plan more complex tasks. For example, a birthday party. The user should be able to give a complex task, and the UI should provide a button that allows the user to break this down into smaller, more manageable tasks. That's the main thing, right? So yeah. For example, for the birthday party, I would say bake a cake, and then it should break it down into choose a cake, buy the ingredients, heat the oven, create the dough, and then cook the thing or bake the thing. So I don't have a good idea how the UI should look like, so I'm just going to ask Anti-Gravity to come up with something.
Happy to let Anti-Gravity be the designer.
Exactly.
Oh, also, let me see if this is already available on the IDE as well. I think it should be. Ooh, uh-oh, I need to restart to update my IDE. Just a second. But I was on the AGI 2.0, so there is now, let me show actually. Can I show my screen a little bit?
Sure.
So if we go here on settings, which is in a slightly different position than from the IDE, because it's literally the other the bottom left instead of the top right when it comes to the IDE. And then we go, oh, the IDE just updated, sorry. And then we go to customizations, and then we go to MCP. So here now, if you search for Stitch, because we did use Stitch on the very first episode, but we had to manually set up the MCP. But now you have it, like you have the option to add Stitch MCP right here. So you just click add, and then you paste the key that you got from the web browser. So we could, for example, in this scenario that you're saying, just say use a Stitch to brainstorm the UI, but I don't think it's necessary because we already have a design like style. But if someone is starting from scratch, it's a nice thing to like mention.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So I'm just gonna say, come up with something, and I'm let's use the built-in let's see if it does the audio recording thing again. Let's try it.
Oh yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Recording.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna use Super Whisper instead. I think that we need some sort of UI to allow users to do that. And I think the best way to do that is on the same screen where they enter a new task. Oh, and that really, hello. Okay, seems like I...
Do you think it only works if you start from
Sorry, say.
Do you think it only works if you start from scratch,
no
like if the input field is?
I don't know what's the problem. I think the problem is that I use headphones now, and the headphones probably, they don't pick up the sound as well. That's the thing.
So someone is asking if it's a Kotlin multi-platform project. No, Kotlin just for Android, and Peter is using Swift for the iOS app, right?
Yep. Okay, can you please suggest how to implement... All right. So let's see. It will first analyze the code base, and it looks into all of the README and documentation files that we have.
Yeah. Then it's analyzing both iOS and Android. Honestly, one of the things, I know it sounds simple, but one of the things that I'm enjoying the most in this like pair programming on different platforms series is that we don't have to say do it for both platforms. It understands and does it, and we just test it.
Yeah, I mean, just now I did kind of, but
in all the other episodes we didn't have to.
Yeah. All right, so what's happening here? Ooh, so it's generating a mock-up using Nano Banana.
It's generating a high-fidelity premium UI mockup, actually.
Let's see what that looks like. Oh, ooh.
Oh, wow. Very Gemini.
Yeah. Let me see if I can actually open that.
Magic breakdown.
Well, so I like the general, arrangement of things. Let's say that. I also love that it puts icons. That's great.
Yeah, but your minimalist app also is not enjoying the amount of colors.
No, the amount of gradients is just like boggling my mind. There was another Where was the other one? Okay, so it gave us an entire design proposal. So let's look at that. So we've got our premium visual mockups.
Yeah.
So this is the one for iOS, probably.
Yeah.
And this is the one for Android, I guess.
Wow.
I mean, mine is the kind of like bulging buttons there.
Yeah.
I like the Android one better than the iOS one,
yeah,
to be honest.
Same.
So data modeling options. To store the generated subtasks in Cloud Firestore, we have 3 architectural paths. Okay, so flat subtasks, markdown checklists, hierarchical tasks. And I think what I had in mind was, instead of breaking this down into subtasks, I was just expecting to get like top-level tasks.
Yeah, more tasks on the same list instead of doing a hierarchy. Definitely.
Exactly. So we should probably say that, right? So
yeah.
I'm going to say, no, none of these. Please create top-level tasks in the same list. Instead, add a comment. And then Firebase AI logic backend setup. Yep, so it needs to, okay. So I'm not entirely sure if this command works, but it seems, it looks legit. That's probably for enabling the APIs.
Yes, but I think it's going to try to enable both of them, but we should ensure that for this app we are using, on the code, we can just double check later, we're using Google AI instead of Vertex AI. But I think what this command does is enabling the two of them.
Let's make sure to use the Google AI Developer API instead of Vertex AI. So it needs to add the dependency. It needs to implement an AI task service to break down the task. It uses a prompt to do that. Yeah, so the implementation. So, okay, this here, that looks fishy, because I think instead of manually parsing the JSON, we should tell it to use structure generation.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain for people on the stream what structure generation is?
Oh, we can pass when creating the model that we want to use, the generative model, we can pass to it the output structure that we want to have to ensure that that output will match the data modeling that we have for our apps, which is then a more secure and the recommended way to ensure the output data will be the format that you expect, then manually trying to parse that and trying to match that to an object that you have in your code.
Yeah, exactly. And under the hood, it will take that structure and turn it into instructions for the model. And there's going to be a parser that parses it back, which uses the platform parser. But we don't have to do this manually. It's all of that is already in the SDKs.
Yeah. And if you're using server prompts templates, it's even less manual work, because you just put the JSON on the template on the console and it does all the model configuration behind the hood for you.
Yeah, very good point. So for the UI, add a sparkle button next to the title field, create a state to hold the list of generated subtasks, provide an interactive checklist card showing the subtasks.
But we agreed on not doing the subtasks, right? So we need to add that.
Yeah. As mentioned before, no subtasks, just top-level So, and then for Jetpack, it needs to add the dependency.
For Firebase AI, yes. I don't know why. Can you just scroll up a little bit? Just a tiny little bit. Okay. It's just saying that Android is built with Jetpack Compose. I thought it was saying that, like, in order for Jetpack Compose to work, we need to put Firebase AI logic dependency. So I was going to make a point about that, but no.
This UI only works if you enable AI.
Okay, Gemini Flash later.
I'm not entirely sure if this model name will work.
Yes, I don't think it will. You should. Cool. So breakdown task. Break down the following subtasks. Provide the output strictly as a JSON array of strings.
Yeah, so again...
It's again, yeah, like getting the array and doing a manual conversion.
Nice. So now for the UI, put an AI sparkle icon directly next to the title input line. Display the generated subtasks. No subtasks. I mean, I like the idea of displaying them so that you can approve before they're all added, right? So
yeah,
that's not bad, but yeah. Okay, would you like to proceed with implementing this feature?
So we need to say which data modeling we want, option A, B, or C.
None of them.
Not too bad.
So please show us the updated plan.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting. You know, whenever I see how it explores the stuff, I'm like, oh man, you know, hopefully I didn't lead you into the wrong direction here.
I mean, at least one thing we didn't lead it in the wrong direction, which is not using subtasks, because I think you added that comment about 7 times on the on the plan.
True.
Oh, okay. So it's it's 2.5 flash. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
I did. Okay. So top-level task creation, rather than adding subtasks, nested schemas, or description checklists, the AI-generated items are now selected, deselected inside the task creation view and saved directly as normal, independent top-level tasks in the active task list. It, you know, it was able to say this so much nicer than I was. This greatly simplifies database management. Yes. Direct Google AI Developer API integration. Configured the SDKs to use the client-side Google AI Developer API. We need to make sure that it still uses Firebase AI logic. Please do so via Firebase AI logic, just to be sure. Correct model name. Okay, yeah. So
I think we have more recent models than that. Maybe we can try 3.5 flashlight.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say Firebase AI logic models you visit often.
Same.
So Structured JSON generation. Replace raw string cleanup and manual substring splitting with native controlled generation response schema on both Swift and Kotlin, guaranteeing a valid JSON string array response directly from the SDK. Please review the complete update plan and design proposal. Let me know if you would like to proceed with writing code for iOS first, Android first, both together.
2 more comments.
We've got more feedback for you. Feedback is a gift.
You're not doing that.
The thing is, it does not react as much to those tiny little jokes as other agents.
No, I mean, not on anti-gravity. If you use the Gemini chat, it does pick up on those for example, I don't know if I said this in any of the other episodes, but when I use the Gemini chat, I always start with "What's up, Gemini guy?" and then sorry, I should have waited for you to finish your drink.
Yes.
And it always greets me with the very enthusiastic, like, "Hey, what's up?" because it picks up even my hello.
That's hilarious. Okay, so here's what has changed. Firebase AI logic integration with Google AI backend, correct. So this looks good, right? So here are the, I think it picked up that we were a little bit confused or concerned about if it knows what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Modern model looked up. What? No. Okay, we'll be explicit. So. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking if did it really go through the documentation, and maybe the description of the 2.5 flash is like, this is optimal for, like, maybe. Did it use that intentionally, or did it not? Because it says which is optimized for reasoning in fast structured outputs. You see, best performance model of the Gemini 2.5 series, especially for low latency, high volume tests. So it did read the documentation and came to the conclusion that that was the most optimal to use, I think.
Okay, I mean, we can play around with this. So I've taught. Well, should I? Let me delete my comment. Let's have it have its way, and then we can play around with all the other models that we can have.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is good, and we can let it do its thing.
Yeah.
So I think when I tried it this afternoon, it took just 2 or 3 minutes to build the whole thing, which was quite impressive. I wonder why it wants to know which version of Swift we have.
Yeah, for Firebase AI logic, I don't think there is any restriction on Swift version. So.
Not really. I mean, as long as you have a moderately modern version.
Unless there's some UI element that he wants to make sure that the Swift.
True.
Yeah.
True. Okay, interesting. So while it's doing that, what I want to do is quickly have a look at our project setup, because maybe we already have. Yeah, so we already have Firebase as a project dependency. And maybe in the target, we also, so it's already set up. So this is why I didn't have to do anything.
For Android, it's already editing the build grade also.
Yeah.
Which is the only.
Wow, that's really quick.
Yeah. Okay. New task for model.
Oh, that's interesting. Did you see that? So the iOS build finished after it had already started editing the Android files. So it's not waiting for stuff.
It's
just
parallel.
doing in parallel. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You know what I thought that was? Because my eyes just skipped the build iOS project finished, because this is in a different, like, in a different style than the main tasks. So I thought that what happened was it created the iOS version, then it created the Android and realized it was slightly different and came back to fix, which also could be an option, right?
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Oh, what went wrong? Okay, so the compile didn't work. Oh, no. Okay, so now it needs to know which Java version we have.
Yeah. Which then may be something like specific to your machine, because then it's going to try to build that on your machine. Do you know what Java version do you have?
I mean, the better question would be, which Java version did I last use? And to that, the answer is, I don't even know, because that has been such a long time since I actually wrote Java code. Maybe.
Oh yeah, for Java code, it's been a while for me as well, because it's mostly Kotlin, but for Android developers, we need that to run on apps. The latest one is 26.
Okay, there you go. So it says it has finished.
Okay.
Cool. So let me run the iOS app first.
See if that works, and then you can commit so I can pull here.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, any moment now.
Oh, it succeeded.
Build succeeded.
Okay.
So let's see.
Birthday party for Marina. Add. Ooh.
So let's see. In true style, it picked up the color of your T-shirt-ish.
Yeah, not the same shade, but the same color, definitely.
Oh no, something did not work. Okay, so what do we have? Firebase AI logic has not been used in your project, or is not, or is disabled. Enable it by going to the console. So, and then retry. So I'm going to copy this. Go to the console. Whoops. I don't want to go to the Cloud Console. Okay, apparently it's not enabled, but let's enable it through the Firebase console.
AI services?
So we're already on Blaze. So let's go to AI Logic, get started, and then Gemini Developer API.
Yes.
Enable this. And we also want to have AI monitoring, right? I find AI monitoring is so useful. For example, I'm working on a thing at the moment where it needs to parse the output that comes back from the model, and the thing that I'm building isn't doing it correctly. So what I end up doing is I go into the AI monitoring dashboard, grab the response that the model sends, paste it into my coding agent, and say, this is what we get back for this request. Can you please analyze what's going on? And then it's able to figure out what's the problem.
Yeah.
So let me rebuild and run. I mean, rebuilding wasn't really necessary.
Yeah, but
it always helps.
Ooh, it's loading.
Something is do.
Gather
That
all
is really nice.
ingredients. Prepare the cake batter, not better, according to the recipe. Bake the cake in the oven as per instructions. Allow the cake to cool completely. Decorate the cake with frosting. Oh, that is cool.
Do you approve?
I approve.
Okay, add. Nice. So great.
That's pretty good.
And now let's push the code. So that works great on iOS. Let's push this so Marina can test the Android implementation. People who attend my live streams know that I am a lazy person, so I can't be bothered to do this manually. Probably would have taken less characters, right?
Yes, literally git add asterisk, and then if you agree with all files anyway, and then.
Well, it was more explicit, right? So it mentioned all the files manually, so it was a little bit more work.
Yeah.
Okay, the feature is now fully staged on the remote branch, ready for build testing on both native platforms. Let me know if you or Marina have additional feedback. I think you can pull.
Cool. Let's do that. Let me clear this. Oh, come on. Here. Let me clear this horrible terminal and do a pull. Cool. Now let's go. It should tell me to sync again because it changed the build Gradle to add Firebase A logic, didn't it? Yeah. Sync now. We should plan it for the next season to have like an elevator song for when Android is building. Okay, let's do it. It's building.
Can you hear this?
No. Is that elevator music?
No, it's not elevator music. It's something different.
Let's go. Come on. Oh. Why can you not? Why are you not importing this? Let me check something. Didn't put a version, right? No, it got. And what's the Firebase bill of materials? Let me just change to the latest one just to be sure. And then try again. See if that's not a version problem. Okay. Let's use the agent on Android Studio to understand what's going on here. Maybe I type. So it was just. Oh, sorry.
So it made up stuff.
Yeah. Made up some imports. This one, though, should be correct. I don't know where. This one. And then you have a response schema here. Okay, I allow you, but I could. Okay. On the right one.
Oh, that's a lot of build errors right there.
Yeah, there's more. It's three windows where the imports were wrong. Okay, now the build was successful. So let's go back here to the emulator and run the app. Okay, so let me start a new list because this is now episode 8. So I'm going to create a list, and here I'm going to type run live stream.
Where is it this one?
So the pencil seems to be the...
Oh, yeah. Well,
set up and test our live stream equipment, finalize and review live stream content and agenda, start live stream broadcast, monitor audience, chat and engage with viewers, deliver planned content during live stream, and the broadcast and save the recording. That is actually very nice. It's going to be today. Okay. I want to see if it will, like, if I uncheck one.
Oh, yeah. So set up and test. Yeah. Okay. Let's uncheck that one.
Yeah, it worked.
Can you scroll down?
This is the...
Or is it? It's the bottom? Okay.
Yeah, this is the bottom. And it did exclude the one that I had. The only thing that I didn't like is that the pencil icon is not really obvious that it's AI. So, hello, anti-gravity. Okay. Let's synchronize here as well. Why not? So, hello. When creating a task in the... What's the screen again?
Add task screen, I would say. I think it'll figure it out.
New task screen, yeah. New task screen file. There's an AI feature to break down the task in smaller tasks. The AI icon is currently a pencil, which is not intuitive. Can you replace with a sparkle, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Why does it have to analyze the Gradle file?
It said that it was looking for material icons. Maybe it's checking the material.
Do you have to pull them in as a dependency?
Yeah. So if you go here and you go here, you have what is it? Jesus, material. Yeah. So you it was probably just making sure it was in Material 3, which is the latest.
Okay. Nice.
Or maybe not, because it actually edited this file. I know that was me. I updated the bill of materials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I need to send you a video. There is a British guy who I don't know if he's actually if he's a street worker. Maybe he is, but he's speaking in a very thick British accent, and then he explains words that he uses in his hood. He says, he talks about the meaning of "to allow it."
I have no idea what does it mean.
It's super fun, but I don't know if it's appropriate for this stream. But
okay.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. But it feels very, related to AI, where you always have to allow it.
Yeah. So, what's this? Okay.
Oh, it still can't find ADB. You know, Marina, what you should do? You should ask anti-gravity to fix the ADB situation for you.
Yeah. Instead of me having to declare this command every time I turn off and on my computer.
Exactly.
Okay, go. So maybe it did it now. Okay, let's.
Is it finished?
Yeah, let's run and see. So speaking of accents, yesterday I saw this film with my best friend in the cinema, and it's called Finding Emily, and it happens in Manchester, and it's just so funny and so good. And so, can I advertise films here? I don't know if I can do that, but
you can say what you like.
Yeah. Okay. I really enjoyed. It's been a while that I hadn't watched a film, a comedy film that actually made me laugh a lot in the cinema.
Nice. Finding Emily.
Finding Emily, yes, and the accent is very nice to see because it's very thick northern accent. Shout out to Tim from Manchester.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Is that? I mean, Tim has a very clean English.
He does.
Does he even have an accent?
When he how do you say that? When I visit him in Manchester, it's thicker than when he's outside of Manchester. You know this.
So he has a home mode and a travel mode.
Exactly. So what task can we create on the
think about topics for season 2.
Oh, look at that icon.
Ooh, look at the icon. Oh, it's amazing.
Okay. So I'm gonna say test new app version, and let's see. I love that icon. Love it. Setup testing environment, run smoke test, perform functional testing, test error handling, review, user interface, log all issues, blah, blah, save task. Nice, all of them are here. Oh, that makes me so happy. Let me see what files did we actually change. So we changed, we added an icon, and then I updated the bill of materials, and then we fixed the imports and the icons on these 3 screens. Oh, good. I'm going to manually commit because I like it. Stated.
Okay, and I have another idea that we can try out to take the sparkler icon to 11.
To 11? What do you mean?
You'll see in a moment.
Okay. You git commit. So fix imports, upgrade Firebase bill of materials, and what else did you do? Oh God, I forget to put a and add AI. Oh, add AI icon. Yep. Okay. I pushed. If you want to pull it there, it doesn't change anything for iOS, but just so you can have the latest version. So what do you mean by take it to the 11? Is that what you said?
Yeah, take it to 11. Let's see. So fetch remote commit. Did it do the thing?
Yeah, I pushed.
Oh, I mean, so I should have gone to this view here. Yeah, so these were your changes, right? Okay, cool. So when the sparkle icon appears, I want it to sparkle with an AIE gradient. Please animate a gradient. So let's see what how wild it will get. So it added a linear gradient with an animation. Okay, nice. All right, let's see if it compiles.
It's still working on Android, I think, no?
Mm-hmm. But maybe iOS is ready for launching, so we can give it a try. Build succeeded. Okay. So what else do we need for the birthday party? We need
buy gifts.
Come
on, I want gifts.
Presents. So, oh, it does sparkle. Do you see that?
I love it. I love it. I want to test the Android one.
Okay, list all recipients for presents. Well,
just me.
Okay, so let's see. Budget, blah blah blah. Okay, what happens if I just edit that and do it again? Thinking.
What are we gonna create on top of that?
Oh, determine Marina's current interests and needs for gift inspiration. Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
Let's add it. Nice.
Nice.
I think this birthday party is going to be a banger.
Yeah. Well, April 16 next year. I'm waiting.
Yeah, it's we've got enough time to prepare to tick off all the boxes here.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we achieved what we wanted to do, right? So we have our feature for breaking down things and adding them to the list.
Yeah, and we can share with each other if we want. We can edit in real time, and we even had a sparkling AI thing.
What more can you ask for?
Nothing, honestly. Ready, ship it. Can you check if it finished for Android as well?
Yep. Let's quickly have a look. Why does it want to fetch now? That is funny.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it wants to rebase. That is interesting.
It didn't pick up that you ran poll before.
Yeah, but I mean, like, all of those changes are like they are just noise, to be honest. There are a bunch of files that are just side effects, and we should ignore them. So typically, it does a good job at figuring out,
what can just
be what we need to ignore.
Yeah.
And then we can do a refresh on that.
So it's trying to stash what you did so we can pull, and then...
Yeah, I don't know why it wants to pull again, because maybe it didn't realize that I pulled manually.
Yeah.
And then, do you think it wants to pull because I said I'm going to push this so Marina can test, and then it's like, oh, Marina probably made changes that we need to integrate?
Probably.
Oh, these things are so smart. Okay, so it's pushing back. I allow it.
Let's see what's going to happen. Push origin.
Okay, so
okay, you pushed it. Let's
let's see how Android looks like.
Cool. Did it do any changes on libs? No. Okay.
No, at least I personally didn't.
Okay. Keeps going back to this. I'm gonna create a new one. I want something fun as well, like birthdays, like summer trip. Oh, wrong one.
What happened?
I just opened the wrong list. Summer list. What do I want? Plan summer. Oh, do you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so
wow, it's the same.
It's
so cool.
Yeah. Okay, it's planning my summer trip. Determine desired destination, research and select potential accommodations, research and select potential activities, book flights, create a detailed daily itinerary. Wow, detail. Wow. Finalize an essential. And this is a high priority as it's very hot in the UK right now and I want it for tomorrow on my desk. There you go.
Nice. That is amazing.
That is amazing. I think we have our app.
Very good.
Yeah.
Ship it.
Ship it, yes. And then let's repeat in the next season.
Yeah. But we should warn people that for any AI-related features, you definitely want to enable app check in your Firebase console and in your app to make sure that only legitimate users of your app on untempered devices can use your project and can access Gemini via your project.
Yes, and let's show it on the console. Can I show it here? Console.
Yep.
So if you go AI services, AI logic. So if you go here, you can there is this button that guides you through registering for app check, but you have to have your app on the store to do that. But the code, I don't know for iOS because I haven't done this on iOS, but for Android, the part that is coding is very simple because it's just something that you add at the right start up of your activity on the main activity, and you get play integrity and you register for it, and then it's very straightforward. And another nice thing to show here, because Peter mentioned about AI monitoring, which is also pretty cool. And then you mentioned app check, and then prompt templates are super cool as well. And you can see there are a lot of templates that you can start from. And you can specify a model, you can put your input, your output schema, you can give system instructions and different roles. You can test this in the console, and then you just pull an ID from your client side, and then you're protecting your proper
intellectual property.
Intellectual property. Thank you. Very hard for a Brazilian to say that. Thank you. And then there was something else that I want to. Once you have your templates created, you can actually enforce them. Or maybe it's even in the settings. Yeah, you can enforce template only mode, which then means that from now on, your app or the requests will only be accepted if they are going through a server prompts template, and then all your information is safe on the server side. You can also enforce authenticated users mode, which then, if you have Firebase auth in your app, is a very good way to enforce people to going through that path.
Yeah, because I thought, obviously protecting your intellectual property, that is one thing that server prompt templates enables. But
also security.
As people saw, the prompt that we've been using in our apps is the same for Android and iOS. So you want to make sure that whenever you change that prompt, both of the apps use it, And by putting it into a server prompt template, you can just do that.
Exactly. And then one more thing, because you're not exposing that prompt, those system instructions on the internet, people who are maybe trying to get your resources, they won't be able to see your prompt and see what they can add there to do prompt injection. So.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of ways to
very good
protect
point.
yourself. So make sure you do all of those. App check, Firebase, auth, server prompts templates, they're all good. They're all there to help you. Just make sure that you read the server prompts templates documentations before, like the models that currently support server prompt templates and the ones who do not. For example, the live ones, you cannot yet use server prompts templates. But yeah, I think you're gonna pull up the documentation, Peter. Yeah. No, I can pull it here.
I was about, and then I forgot what I actually wanted to show.
Server prompts templates, supported features and models. Server prompts templates, and then you have best practices. Yeah, there is another best practice, which is to then, very cool. So once you have your ID, you can go to remote config. Create configuration in a moment. Well, remember at the beginning of this call when I told you, let's see how much my computer can handle with that many programs open? Found out the answer. So remote config, you can have like a template ID key. I always forget it. Or underscore maybe. Yeah. And then you give it a default value. So for example, let's say generate tasks, if we were moving that to the server, v1.0.0. And then we save that, and then we pull that from the client side. And why is that cool? Because then if we want to update the model, the system instructions, the prompt, or anything, even input output schemas, we can just like toggle here to like 1.1.0 or and then all clients receive those changes at the same time. So yeah, all of that is available on the best practices documentation of Firebase AI Logic. So make sure to check that.
Yeah, and I remember what I wanted to show, which was the launch checklist.
Cool.
So this is here. So Firebase has this page where you can see all the launch checklists. So if you search for Firebase launch checklist, you will find it. It is here in the left navigation. And it's got this overview of all the different products. So you can look up launch checklist for all those products here. And here is the one for Firebase AI Logic. And when we click here, you get your production checklist for using Firebase AI Logic. And it says, as one of the very first things, start enforcing Firebase app check, set up restrictions for your Firebase API keys so that they can't be used for anything else, restrict requests to only authenticated users, and a lot more things. So if you go through this checklist, then you'll be on the safe side.
Yeah. That point that you just went over is a very good one about enforcing app check, because we just said here how like it's fairly straightforward and it only takes a couple things for you to set up app check. But setting this up and having this on like each app doesn't mean that it's blocking the requests. They are not authentic. You have to actually go into the app check dashboard and click on enforce. So on that dashboard, you can see which requests are coming from a verified source and which ones are coming from a not verified source. And what the production checklist tells you to do is to click on the enforce button, which means that from that point in time on, all the requests that we cannot verify the source not being replied. We're not going to accept those requests to the APIs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
I think we can wrap it up here.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break because I'll be traveling for most of the next month, I think, and you'll be busy moving to a different place.
Yes.
And when we come back after the break, we'll come up with something new. So people can send in their suggestions, I think, and we will have a look at these. So if you've got any ideas, put them in the comments below, and we'll have a look at that. We will probably also, we can ask on social, right? That's probably give us even more signal.
Yeah.
Or maybe noise.
Well, a little bit of both is always good.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we'll be back after the break.
Yeah. Thanks for everyone who stayed with us for this first season.
Yeah.
Hope to see you again on the next one.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks, Marina, for being a fantastic co-host, and I look forward to the next season.
Same.
We will see you in the next one.